Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the real reason that you want to break up with your PMDD partner. And I really want to talk about this because as I'm coming out of my follicular phase, going straight into PMDD, and I'm really getting those thoughts again about getting really avoidant with my PMDD partner. And it comes every single time right out of ovulation. That's when it begins. And I know for a lot of my private clients, as soon as they get ovulation, they kind of get into that anxious state where they start questioning, what their partner's doing, how their partners feel about them, whether their partner really appreciates them, whether they really love them, whether they want to be with them. And there's so many thoughts that literally come into your head as soon as PMDD comes. And then over the course of 14 days, that's what can lead to the breakups. And I really want to talk to you about the real reasons and how this escalates so that you can avoid that for your PMDD relationship. So the first one I want to talk about is the common one that we all have, and that is the lack of peace. Whenever you start initially arguing with your PMDD partner, meaning that your PMDD partner has triggered you, you've said something about it or they said something about it, and then all of a sudden you get into these triggered spaces and now you're arguing and you're fighting. What happens is when this happens during PMDD and it's over a long period of time, it becomes exhausting. So initially it's kind of energizing. You're ready to prove your point. You're ready to defend yourself, and it's fine having a little argument here and there. So that's why with other couples who don't have PMDD involved, this is not really a factor where they're wanting to break up on a monthly basis, because it's like, oh, we had an argument, we had a fight, and then we went back to normal, and then we were fine. Well, when you have PMDD for 14 or more days out of the month, and you consistently have that arguing, that fighting, you're not connecting, you're not seeing each other on the same page, you're starting to think that your PMDD partner is the enemy, that's because you've been fighting about something and you're really, really, really convinced that you're right. And you're really, really, really convinced that your PMDD partner is wrong. And you see them as not understanding your point of view. You see them as not supporting you. You see them as not listening to you the way you want to be listened to. And over time, you get exhausted, like you burn out. You burn out from the fighting. You burn out from the arguing. You're tired of defending yourself. Maybe they've said some things within the realms of the argument that's really offensive. So now you were initially going off of the original thing that you got triggered at, and that's what kept you angry and upset with your PMDD partner. Now, once you begin fighting, your PMDD partner is going to say something to you that's below the belt. They're going to do something to you that they crossed the line in the midst of the arguing. And then you're going to start to think, I deserve better than this. All I really want is peace. I don't want to keep arguing like this. I can't keep arguing like this every single month. And then you're going to go straight to the breakup and think the only way that you can get peace in your relationship with your PMDD partner is to break up. And so one person is going to mention breaking up. I know for me and my PMDD partner, some months it was me, some months it was him, but it was just like wanting this way out. It was like, there's no solution. I can't keep waking up with all this anxiety over the arguing that we had and just continuing it for another day. You're in the house, you're walking on eggshells, you're not seeing eye to eye. You're just wanting a way out. You're like, listen, I just want peace. I've literally had clients, private PMDD clients that have moved out of their homes, that have taken children out of school, that have split finances. They're doing all these things because they just want peace. They're breaking up not because they don't love their PMDD partner, but because they feel like they cannot have peace with their PMDD partner. So that's the number one reason why you would break up. And I'm going to give you some tips at the end of this on how to avoid breaking up with your PMDD partner. But I want to first give you all of the reasons that you commonly want to bring up or break up with your PMDD partner, because I feel like sometimes we don't know, like we're so in it and it's so real for us that we don't realize what's going on. So sometimes if I explain to you what's going on and what the process is, then you can see yourself in it and say, yes, that's me. And then you can go to my tips on how to stop breaking up with your PMDD partner every single month. Because when you go into PMDD, these same issues are coming up for you. So it's not going to go away until you implement the tools to stop breaking up. But first, I want you to identify which one of these reasons are your reason for wanting to break up with your PMDD partner, and then I'll give you the tool to stop it. So the next one is a lack of support. I hear this so often with PMDD partners that they feel like their partner is just not supportive of them when they get into PMDD. Everybody has different needs when they go into PMDD, but they feel like their partner either is not getting their needs met so that they're not meeting your needs, or they're just going in their little hole. And what I want to tell you is if you're not getting support when you're in PMDD from your partner, that is going to make you want to break up eventually, because you're going to begin to feel like, well, what is the point of even being with my PMDD partner if they're not going to support me? So then you start looking at, the reasons why people are in relationships, and they're in relationships so that they don't have to do things alone. They're supposed to be there with a partner. They're supposed to have a good PMDD partner. You may hear on these forums about good PMDD partners that are going in and they're really just, getting their food for them when they need it. They're, taking care of the kids, bringing them their breakfast, allowing them to sleep in, just taking over the chores, taking over the day to day, allowing them to stay home from work, all of these things that they're doing to be a good PMDD partner. And then you're looking at your partner and you're like, my partner doesn't even do anything differently when I go into PMDD. It's almost like they expect more from me when I go into PMDD. So I don't have a good PMDD partner. I don't have a good PMDD partner because they're not supportive, and therefore I need to break up with them. So this is the second reason why you would want to break up with your PMDD partner, because you feel like they're not being supportive. And if they're not being supportive, what's the point of being in the relationship? Because you're fighting to be with someone that's not going to support you in a disorder that you don't have a cure for. This is going to go on for a long period of time, and they're not going to support you. So you feel like I would just be better off alone. Meaning, if I have to do everything by myself when I'm a PMDD, then what's the point of having a partner? A partner for me, when I'm a PMDD, is basically one other person that I have to take care of. So I just want to be single. So if this sounds like you, lack of support is your reason for wanting to break up with your PMDD partner. The next reason for wanting to break up with your PMDD partner is a lack of attention and affection. This is so common that when you get into PMDD, you may want more attention from your PMDD partner. You may want more reassurance. You may get more clingy and you may get more needy. And it's just you feeling like you need your partner to fill you up even more. And if you go to your partner to get that kind of love, affection, attention, validation, all of the things, and they don't readily give it to you, then you automatically feel like, you know what, if you're not going to give me what I need when I go into PMDD, then I might as well be single. Because you start looking at all of the things that you do for them. You say, I do this for them, I do this for them, and then I get into PMDD, and the least that they can do is show me some kind of attention, affection, and support out of everything that I'm going through. And then you feel like it's one-sided, where you're constantly pouring into your PMDD partner, and they're not doing the same for you, and you practically feel like you're begging for their attention. You're begging for their affection. You don't understand, why don't they want to hold my hand? Why don't they want to hug me? Why don't they want to kiss me? Why don't they want to have sex with me? Why don't they want to connect with me? Why are they okay with all of this space that's in between us? Why don't they want to be closer to me like I want to be closer to them? I think it would be so much better if I just get with a PMDD partner that literally allows me to come close to them, and then they come closer to me in combination, meaning we both want to be closer with each other. So this is when you genuinely feel like you're with the wrong PMDD partner. And when you get to this point, because you're really, really wanting the attention and affection from your PMDD partner, it's really hard for you to accept being with a PMDD partner that doesn't want to give you the love, affection, and attention that you need within the relationship, because you begin to think, is this how it's always going to be? I'm always going to be in this relationship wanting this attention, wanting this love, wanting this affection, and they're not willing to give it to me. So maybe if I go and be with another PMDD partner that wants to give me that love and affection and attention and validation, then you'll say, you know what, I'll be better off. So this is when you're going to want to break up with your current PMDD partner, because you're going to feel like, I'm a catch. This is when the ego comes in. You're going to be like, I'm a good person. They should want to give me love and affection. I do this for them. I do this for you. All of these things. And it's going to make you feel like they should be giving me more support, more attention, but they're not. So I'm going to go find it in someone else, and I'll be better off because I won't have to consistently beg my PMDD partners to give me something that I know that I genuinely deserve. And this is when you want to break up and you want to say, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to continue begging them. I'm just going to go get it from someone that is freely wanting to give me these things, so that I don't feel like if my PMDD partner finally does give me affection and attention, that they're just doing it only because, I complained about it, or only because I said that I needed it, not because they genuinely wanted to give it to me. So the next one is lack of space. So this is the opposite of what we just talked about. If you go into PMDD and you really want to become like a hermit, you really want to stay to yourself, you really want to have your own space, have your own time, because your symptoms are so horrible that you just want to isolate yourself from your PMDD partner. A lot of times this may be that you want to isolate from your PMDD partner in order to not doing damage to them. You may want to have your space so that you don't say something that you don't mean, or you don't do something that you don't mean and then feel guilty about it. So you're feeling like, if I can just have these 2 weeks to myself, and I just, I'm very robotic. I'm very limited on communication. I say hello when I'm leaving. I say, hello when I'm coming in, goodbye when I'm leaving, and that's it. Like, you want to minimize contact because you're dealing with your symptoms and you genuinely feel like you don't have the energy to deal with anything that your PMDD partner would bring. Then you may feel like you need to be by yourself, right? So this is when you feel like you need to be single because you want to be alone to deal with your PMDD, because at least when you're just dealing with yourself, you're not getting in fights, you're not getting in arguments, and most importantly, you're not feeling obligated to give your partner something that you don't physically have when you're in PMDD. So a lot of times when you're getting to that avoidance state and you're really wanting space, your partner is leaning in because they're feeling you pull away, and so they're requiring more of you. So you may feel like, I want to be single because I just don't have the energy to give you the emotional closeness and reassurance that your partner needs in order to feel like, you guys are good. So you feel like, well, if I was just single and I didn't give attention to anybody else, like, I would be fine. I know for me, I have an avoidant attachment, and I know my friends know, like, if I go into PMDD and I don't talk to you for a couple of days, they don't take it personally. They're just like, oh, she's, in PMDD, or she's in a mood or whatever. But with my PMDD partner, if I was to take that space, then all of a sudden it would be a questioning of, do you love me? Do you care about me? It would be an overwhelming task to reassure my PMDD partner, because they want to know, when they feel that disconnect, they want to feel that you're not going anywhere. And sometimes when they don't get that reassurance, they will want to break up with you. So it'll kind of be like, you'll want space because you want to deal with your PMDD, and they feel like, well, if you're not going to give me the attention, affection that I need, then we might as well break up, because if I'm not getting what I need out of this this relationship, then what's the point of being together? And the last reason that you want to break up with your PMDD partner is a lack of love, a lack of intimacy, a lack of closeness, a lack of feeling like you have someone on your side. This is like a combination of all of them. So if you saw yourself in all of these 4 reasons, and then you're like, yeah, I'm pretty much like, I've wanted to break up because of all of those, then you genuinely wanted to break up because you've not felt loved in your PMDD relationship when you're in PMDD. And you feel like, how long can I do this? I can't do this forever. So you think one or two things: I should just be alone, or I should be with a different PMDD partner. And when you get to this point, you're basically in this desperate space. You're wanting the pain to stop. You're wanting the arguing to stop. You're wanting the frustration to stop. You're wanting the anxiety to stop. You're wanting you to stop having bad days at work. You know, some of my private clients have panic attacks at work because they have so much, stress going on in their PMDD relationship. It exasperates all of their symptoms. They're just wanting it to end. And the only way that they feel like they can make it end is to break up. It's kind of like unplugging something from an outlet. If I unplug myself from my PMDD partner, then that means all of the frustration that I'm feeling, all of the stress should go away if I break up with my PMDD partner. So now I'm going to give you some tips for each of these reasons, my signature PMDD trauma transformational tools on how to deal with all of these reasons that you're wanting to break up with your PMDD partner. So the first one was the lack of peace. If you've been arguing and fighting with your PMDD partner for days and days and days and hours and hours and hours, and it feels like you're in Groundhog Day, then I want you to agree to take a break from discussing any of the major issues that you have in your relationship. I want you to say, during PMDD, we're not going to discuss any of the big things that we have going on in our PMDD relationship. Reason being is emotions are high, stress is high, frustrations are high. So this is not the time to be having big relationship conversations. If you find yourself arguing and fighting over things that are actually valid, I want you to write it down and then schedule a time to talk about it when you're not in PMDD. I know this is a lot of my private clients. They schedule times in their follicular phase and we have sessions and they talk about things that came up when they're in PMDD. What this does is it allows you and your partner to know that you're actually going to deal with the things that are coming up while you're in PMDD, but you do not have to do it while you're in PMDD, and you can kind of relax at that point. That means, okay, we have a space and time that we're going to talk about this, and for the rest of PMDD, we can just relax. You can have your peace. Your PMDD partner can have their peace because they're knowing that the issues that they have are going to be addressed. I think it's not good to just say, I don't want to talk about this because I'm in PMDD, because then they're not going to feel heard. They're going to feel like, well, when can I get my point across? And they're going to feel like they need to be heard and validated before they can move on with the relationship. But you're not saying, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it ever. You're saying, I don't want to talk about it while I'm in PMDD. And then you give them a couple days and you discuss it. If you need help, make sure you're booking a private session with me, www.inlovewithpmdd.com, and you can book a private session with just you. If there's things that you really need to work out, like internally, you need to even ask me, is this something that I should be bringing up? Should I be worried about this? Is this worth bringing up with my PMDD partner? Or you can have you and your partner come on and you say, you know what, we both need to talk about this. It's really bothering us and we can't move forward until we get this issue resolved. The sooner, the better, because if you keep having times where they keep getting piled up on top of each other, then that's when they have that compound trauma, meaning you have months and months and months of issues that come up, but you're never really dealing with them. And all that's going to happen is the next time you go into PMDD, it's just going to come up again. So make sure you're getting help in specifically addressing those comments while you're not in PMDD. And I really, really would suggest with someone that's a PMDD relationship expert, because you don't want to spend the majority of your sessions reminding your, counselor, therapist, anything about what PMDD is. We want to use that time where we're specifically taking the tools that I'm giving you and customizing it to your PMDD relationship. So the next thing is the lack of support. If you're feeling like you're getting a lack of support from your PMDD partner and you're wanting something different, a lot of times PMDD partners are just asking for what they need in the wrong way, right? It's not that you cannot get what you need. It is about asking for it in a loving way. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably throwing up in your mouth right now, because if you're in PMDD, the last thing you're concerned with is being lovey-dovey with your PMDD partner when it comes to things that they're supposed to be doing. Because when it talks about lack of support, this could be, I told them to do this, they said they were going to do it, and then they're just not doing it. So this could be a situation where you're trying to remind them and you're almost nagging them of like, hey, you told me you were going to do this. You told me this wasn't going to be an issue. Why is it not done? Why do I have to keep reminding you? You're feeling like a parent. You're feeling like they're the child. If you have a child, you're feeling like you have another one, and you're just feeling like you're doing it all alone. And you get really, 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 really sad that you're taking on all of this by yourself, and you have a whole nother adult that's watching you go through all of this, and you're struggling. You are struggling trying to take care of everything by yourself, and it seems like they don't care. And when it gets to this point, then you really need to stop and think about, what is it that I need from my PMDD partner, and how can I ask them in a way that they're actually going to receive it. So every PMDD partner is different, but I would say for my PMDD partner, he has to feel some sort of connection with me in order to be authentically supportive. Yes, he can do the things with an attitude or, out of obligation, but to be authentically, doing the supportive things, he has to feel connected to me. And I have to reinstill that connection before I ask for anything. So I know what you're thinking. You're like, why should I have to give them something before they give me something? Well, if your PMDD partner is not connected to you, then when you go to ask for things from them, they are going to feel not compelled to do it. They're either going to ignore you. They're going to act like they forgot. They're going to say, oh, I can't. I have this going on. They're not going to feel compelled to help you because they're not connected to you. Think about the times that your PMDD partner has really done things for you and you felt their love when they've done them. It's because they have felt loved. They have to feel loved in order for them to genuinely support you and want to do it versus feeling like they're being forced to do it. So again, if you need help customizing that, contact me. But that's the only way that you're going to get the genuine support, where you don't feel like you're just making them do something and they're going to resent you for it later on. So the next solution for the reason that you want to break up, for lack of attention, lack of affection, a lot of times if you are the anxious attachment style and you're trying to get more attention from your PMDD partner and they are avoiding you and they're not giving you the affection and attention that you want, my number one tool for you, my number one PMDD trauma transformational tool is to not rely on them to give you what it is that you need. I want you to go do something that makes you happy. Let them see you be happy doing said thing, whatever that thing is, and then don't pressure them. When you pressure them, you're pushing them away. When you pressure your PMDD partner, you push them away. I really want to let my anxious attached PMDD partners know that, because I know that it's genuine. I know you genuinely want love and affection and attention, and I'm trying to give it to you. I'm trying to tell you the way to get it. You can't force it. You can't be blaming them and shaming them for not giving you the attention. You have to do something that makes you feel happy, allow them to see you do that, and then go about your day. Go about your life. Let them feel calm. It's like a butterfly. If you chase a butterfly, you will never catch it. You will never, ever, 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 ever catch it. But if you stand still and you are calm, you have to know when you get really clingy and anxious and needy, that you're projecting that energy off to your avoidant PMDD partner, and it's scary. It's overwhelming. It's so overwhelming that they just want to get away from it even more. So it's kind of like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like it takes them aback. It's like, that's too much. And I know if you have an anxious attachment, I know you've heard your PMDD partner tell you that you're too much. It's too much. You have to calm yourself down by doing some activity. Again, you have to customize this to you. Some activity that gets you to relax. I know this because I have a PMDD partner that has an anxious attachment style. And when he's all over the place, I'm like trying to run, literally run. I can't get, because the energy is too overwhelming. And I know that he just wants attention and affection, and he works so hard for it. And it just makes me want to move away even further. But you know what makes me want to be close? He'll literally like work all day, try to do all these things to get it. And I'm just like looking like, whoa, that's a lot. That seems like a lot. When he lays on the couch, when he's just calm and I'm able to move around and not feel that pull, that neediness, then I come to him. And a lot of times he's shocked and taken aback that I'm laying on him. I'm giving him affection. You have to allow when you're wanting that affection, you have to allow your partner to come to you. And I know that it's hard. I know that it's hard because you need that reassurance. You need that attention. You need to know that they're not going to leave you, that they're going to be there for you and all these things. But the way to get it is you got to go the opposite of what you're doing. You got to relax. You got to let your partner do what they're going to do to make them happy. And then they will come to you. I want you to tell yourself that because I know how hard it is. You just have to tell yourself, my PMDD partner does this and I know it's hard for him. But he has to distract himself from those PMDD thoughts. So, like when he gets into the anxious state, he has to do something to distract himself. And so he got this video game that he started playing, and he's not even a gamer. But whenever he gets what he would call rejected by me, meaning he's reaching out really, really like, hey, good morning, or hey, and wanting all this affection in return. And I'm just like, whoa. And I acknowledge him. So I'm not ignoring him. I'm acknowledging him, but it's not to the level that he thinks that he wants. Then he got this video game so that he could sit down. He can play the video game. He can distract himself from all of the anxious thoughts that are running through his mind. They're like, she doesn't love you. She doesn't care about you. All of those things are lies. Those are intrusive thoughts and they're lies. But when you're not getting that attention and affection from your PMDD partner, you start to think that, you overthink it. And then it's almost like my PMDD partner one time was like, I can't take this anymore. You don't want to be with me. If you don't want to be with me, I was literally saying I want to take a nap or something. And he was wanting affection and attention. And when I went to go lay down upstairs, he literally came and he had flew down to see me. He literally came upstairs. He was like, if you don't want to get me the affection, attention I want, you don't want to be with me, all you had to do was say so. Literally caught an Uber, left my house, our house, and went home because I wasn't giving him the affection and attention that he wanted. That's how serious it can be. Whereas if he would have allowed me to take a nap, relax on my own, have a little time for myself, I would have came back downstairs. We could have watched a movie. We could have cuddled. All of these things that he's wanting, but you have to give your PMDD partner time to give it to you without making up stories in your mind of why they're not giving it to you. So the next one is the lack of space. If you're feeling like you're needing space in your PMDD relationship, and this is why you're wanting to be single, because you're like, well, the only way I can get the space I need is if I'm single, then I want you to communicate with your PMDD partner, like I just told you in that same scenario, and give them a time frame. Because the mistake that I made when my PMDD partner left was I just said I wanted space and I just left it pretty open. Whereas I would have said, hey, babe, I just want to take like a nap for like 2 hours, about 2 hours, like no longer than 2 hours. And then I'm going to come downstairs and can we watch a movie? Can we go for a walk? Can we go to the grocery store? Give your PMDD partner something that they can hold on to while you're taking space. So I'm not telling you not to take space. I absolutely need to take space. Like I need to take space, and it has nothing to do with how much I love my PMDD partner. I love him to death. I adore him, all of the things. But when I need my space, I need my space. And if I don't get my space, then I start to resent him for not allowing me to have that space. And then I feel like I want to break up because I'm like, man, why would I be with someone that doesn't allow me to have the time that I need? So then I get to that point and I say, I need space. Can we do this at this time? Give him a hug, give him a kiss, reassure him, allow that to hold him over. Don't get sucked in and not take your space because you're sensing that they're wanting more. They're absolutely wanting more. Like when you give them that hug or that kiss or whatever, they're probably gonna want you to stay there and be like, oh, and you may think to yourself, well, I could stay right down here. When you force yourself to stay with your PMDD partner when you really need space, you're going to pay for it later because you're going to resent them. You're going to end up going off because you're going to be triggered later on because you haven't taken that space. And the space doesn't have to be a long time. So after you've taken that space, then you go back and connect with your PMDD partner, and then both of you will be happy and you won't feel the need to break up. So the last one is a lack of love. When you feel like you have a lack of love in your PMDD relationship, it is probably based off of when you go into PMDD, you're not getting one of these things that you need, and you're not feeling like you could really be open with your PMDD partner about it. You're not feeling like you can ask them for what you need and they actually listen and then do something about it, right? So when you don't have that comfort level with your PMDD partners to be open and you're holding things in, and it's kind of like, you know what's wrong, but you don't feel comfortable telling them what's wrong for whatever reason, that's where the lack of love comes in, because you just feel like they don't understand you, they don't get you. And maybe if you were with another PMDD partner that was similar to you, then you wouldn't have to beg your PMDD partner for these things. But I want to tell you, with the anxious and avoidant is never going to be with another avoidant, and anxious is never going to be with another anxious. So if you feel clingy and needy when you get into PMDD, you're never going to be with a partner that is clingy and needy. They're never matched together. That's not a thing. If you're an avoidant, you're not going to be with another avoidant. You would never see each other. You would probably end up breaking up anyway because you never want to be around each other because you're kind of like, I need my space. And then there's no connection. There's a reason why your PMDD, one is avoidant and one is anxious. What we want to do is get you to that secure spot, which is what I work with in my PMDD Partners Breakup Academy, is we identify, are you an anxious attachment style? Are you an avoidant? And what can we do to get you to a secure attachment style? And I'll talk to you in another episode about what the secure attachment style looks like, but it's basically the opposite of both of those. It's that sweet spot in the middle. But when you feel like you have that lack of love, you feel like that's when you begin to think, I'm just with the wrong partner. So maybe I should be single, or maybe I should be with another PMDD partner. But I guarantee you that any PMDD partner that you're going to be with, you're going to have to use these tools, because you're going to have to navigate an intimate relationship with another PMDD partner. And there's going to be something about them. When you go into PMDD, one of these things are going to show up and you're going to have to work on it. So I would say invest in your current PMDD partner with making it work. I know you have history. I know you genuinely love them. You chose them for a reason. And to go through the process of breaking up with them, finding a whole nother PMDD partner, it's a gamble, because you're going to be giving up something if you're choosing to switch out PMDD partners. I know, because I've done it. I've broken up so many times, and I look back and I'm like, man, I missed this thing about this PMDD partner. Like I always lose something. I gain something, but it's not always an even balance. So you have to be very careful when you're choosing to break up, because you're giving up something, especially if you're married, especially if you have kids, especially if you moved in and you're living together. Like, there's so many logistics that are going into it that financially you are going to struggle from breaking up. Mentally, you're going to struggle from breaking up. Emotionally, you're going to struggle from breaking up. Physically, you're going to struggle from breaking up. Breaking up is not going to be as easy as you make it in your mind. I know you're thinking, oh, I just break up and then I don't have to worry about this and I just deal with PMDD on my own. But you're going to deal with that in the middle of all of these other struggles that I just talked about. And then PMDD is going to come and you're going to be hating life. So instead of breaking up with your PMDD partner, I want you to address whatever one of these 5 issues that you have. And then you can come into the PMDD Partners Breakup Academy, customize the tools to your specific PMDD relationship so that you don't feel like you need to break up with your PMDD partner every single month. We got this. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners workbook. What this workbook can do is if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship. So you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.